that I have the opportunity to meet you in person and ask you some questions, because I'm sure that people from IOBC will be very curious. Who will be the president for the next years?
Well, it's wonderful to meet with you as well, and what a great opportunity to have a chat.
It's great. So my first question is, what is your motivation to serve on the IOBC Global Executive Committee as president?
So it's a great question. So for the last 20 or so years, I've been working in biological control, and this is the discipline that in many ways has given me my career. And so for me, a big part of the motivation with serving on the executive committee of IOBC was to give something back to the discipline, to the community that gave me my career.
Okay.
So that was my interest. And then when nominations were invited, I thought, I'm interested in serving on the committee. And it was a very pleasant surprise for me when it looked like the nominations committee considered me in the context of serving as president.
Okay.
And so for me, that's a...
You didn't expect that?
I was not fully expecting it.
You weren't looking for that?
I definitely was not looking for it.
Okay.
But it's a great honor. And
it's well deserved, I guess. Yeah, you have a lot of experience in this.
And I'm hoping to be able to contribute. And for me, that is a big motivation, to give back to the discipline and to help the discipline have a global presence.
Yeah. This is actually my next question is, what would you like to achieve as a president of the IOBC?
So this was a question that also came up at the General Assembly in Costa Rica at the IOBC International Congress for Biological Control. Is for me is number one, we have a pretty strong global presence in biological control. It's about supporting that. So that's continuing to support that like the previous executive did. Continuing to support our next generation of biological control scientists, whether that be through supporting students or supporting postdocs, to connect with the discipline and to help make the discipline stronger, and also to support the discipline continuing to be used as a sustainable way of pest, weed, disease management globally, but especially in the global south or in the developing countries of the world.
Yeah.
So that is a big passion for me.
Okay, yeah, I understand, yeah. So where do you see the strengths of the organization?
I think the strength of the organization is its membership, and the strength of the organization is its regional sections. It has this wonderful cooperative model, way of working, where you have these different regional sections which have different priorities, different expertise, and IOBC Global has the privilege of stitching together these global, these regional sections distributed throughout the globe. So to me, that's a strength of the society, the fact that we have these different regional sections. For example, at the conference in Costa Rica, we learned about how vibrant and strong the Latin American, the South American section of the society is. We know how strong the section is in Europe. We have a smaller section in Asia, but we have an opportunity to grow and make it stronger in Asia. So to me, the strength of the organization is all of those features.
Okay, yeah. So do you see opportunities for IOBC, or?
I think,
yes, yeah.
I think there are many opportunities for IOBC, but perhaps a really important role for IOBC is one that my predecessor, Professor Martin Hill from South Africa, and his predecessor, George Heimpel, started, which is around trying to ensure we connect the global community through science, connect the global community through harmonizing the regulations around biological control in different parts of the world, to ensure that as a technology it is available for everybody as a safe and sustainable technology for managing agricultural and environmental pests, weeds and diseases. It is available for everybody. And so that, I think, is a real opportunity. And a really good example of that is we are working with international agencies like the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations to try and harmonize some of these regulations that impact the use of biological control. If we are able to do that collectively as a global community, then we can do a lot more. So that's a really good opportunity.
I think, to me, it's a big plus that your organization is independent and a non-profit organization. So
and I think that's
trustful at the end.
To use our trust to do good, I think is a really strong opportunity.
Yeah, right. Is there anything special what you want to focus on as a president?
So we want to make sure we take so the IOBC runs the International Congress of Biological Control. It is our flagship conference that brings together the global scientific community and also in partnership with industries working on making biologicals more mainstream. That happens every 3 or 4 years. My hope is that we will take that meeting regularly to developing countries to create momentum and opportunities for developing countries to understand the technology and also to start using it more and more. But I also want to say there are many developing countries that have a lot to teach the world about biological control. And so it's really an opportunity, not one-way interaction, it's a mutual interaction that we can help.
Okay, that's a cool focus. So maybe let's switch over a little bit to more personal questions.
Sure.
So I heard from Global that there was an initiative last year to teach people how to get a biocontrol career. So what advice would you give your younger self at the beginning of your career?
Advice that I would give myself is build strong foundational disciplinary knowledge, whether that if you are involved in biological control of weeds, make sure you have good foundational knowledge about weeds. Similarly, if you're managing insects using biological control or diseases using biological control, give yourself foundational entomological and microbiological knowledge. But then also spend a good amount of time trying to understand the end user perspective. How is this as a science, how is this as a technology going to help solve somebody's problem? Because ultimately the success of an applied scientific discipline like biological control relies on both the fundamentals and the end user need.
The application at the end.
Connecting those two is something that we should focus on from the very beginning. That's the advice that I would like to give myself as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So I'm sure people would also like to know a little bit more about you, yourself. So could you tell us a bit about yourself, about your personal life?
So I was born in India, and I did all of my studies through to my undergraduate degree in zoology in India. I was always passionate about ecology and environmental science, and I was always passionate about using science to solve problems. So then I had the wonderful opportunity to come to Australia as a postgraduate student. So I came to Australia as a postgraduate student, did my postgraduate studies through to my doctorate, and also began working in biological control as a postdoctoral fellow working on weed biological control.
This was here in Brisbane?
It was here in Brisbane.
Okay.
And that then led to my first academic job in the United States, again working on biological control. And I have worked directly or indirectly in biological control for over 20 years. That began with that journey in the postdoctoral fellowship.
Okay.
So that's my professional journey in that regard. Personally, my wife's a social scientist. We don't have any children, but we've got 2 dogs that we absolutely love. They're wonderful companions for us. We have my wife's of Irish heritage. I'm of Indian heritage, so we have this wonderfully blended family that we get to interact with, which gives us in our home an international perspective, which I hope to learn from in all my interactions with people around the world in terms of being president of IOBC Global.
So, what is your favorite hobby? Is it going with the dog for a walk?
It's very high up there. It's spending time with animals is a pretty high priority for myself. Spending time in nature is a very big part of. It's something that I used to do a lot more of, and something I want to do more of. The current stage in my career, I don't get a lot of opportunity to spend as much time in nature, but it is one that is a deep passion of mine. So, going on hikes, going on walks, bird watching, experiencing different habitats in different geographic locations. They're all often anything to do with nature is something that I'm really enthused by. So that's a pretty key hobby of mine.
Okay, we are already at the last questions I have prepared. So, What is your take-home message? Short take-home message.
Have a passion and follow it through with conviction. Okay. That's something that my mentors have instilled in me, and I feel like that is a useful take-home message for us for students, for any of us in our different career stages. Is if we're doing biological control and it's our passion, let's pursue it with the fullest of our convictions, because then we can make a meaningful difference. So that would be my take-home message.
Cool. Do what you love to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much for this very interesting interview. I wish you all the best as a president, and that you achieve those focus and goals you would like to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.